Are you worried about OSHA violations? Well, maybe you've wanted to know what's the top 10 OSHA violations. In this episode, I'm going to round out where we started last week. You see, last week I gave you 5 of the top 10 OSHA violations. This week, I'm giving you the other 5. And it's going to be a 1-2 punch because I'm going to tell you what the violation is, and then I'm going to tell you how to fix it and what the common problems are that OSHA finds. I think you're going to find this episode really helpful, so let's dive in. Well, hey friend, my name is David Sawyer. I'm a safety coach. Before I talk about the top 10 OSHA violations that are the most common, I want to tell you need to go download a free OSHA audit checklist. Because if you want to know what to do to prepare your company for an unexpected OSHA visit, this checklist will do it. Not only that, it doesn't just help you prepare your team, but if you're in the middle of an audit, it actually gives you an idea how to respond to OSHA after the audit. So the checklist is incredibly valuable and it's completely free. So go to my website, helpwithosha.com, and you can download a free copy of the OSHA audit checklist. There's also a couple bonuses thrown in there where, again, not only do I tell you what to do, but I kind of explain why you need to do it and what some of the common hangups are with companies as they try to do it. So I hope you go to my website, helpwithosha.com. That'll be a big help for you. Now, last week, if you haven't watched the video, go back, watch the video from last week because we talked about the first 5 top OSHA violations. And the first one on the list was fall protection. Then we talked about hazard communication. We talked about ladder safety. We talked about scaffolding. And the 5th and final one for last week was respiratory protection. Now, for this week, number 6, we'll go ahead and jump into it. Number 6 is lockout, tagout. Now, give you a little bit of background on this. If you don't know what lockout, tagout is, it's simply a safety program that every single company has to do. It's a safety program that prevents equipment from starting unexpectedly while you're servicing it or cleaning it. And in my lockout, tagout training, I always kind of explain it in really simple terms because that's the way I like to understand things. And I'll never forget the first time I heard somebody explain lockout, tagout, it was like a blur. He made it so complicated and used the most hard to understand words that I remember walking out of there and just thinking, what in the world was that about? And then, when I became involved with safety and became a safety professional, I was like, man, that trainer did a terrible job. It's not that hard to understand. The first thing you do is you turn off the power. Then you shut the power off at the source. There might be more than one source. And the third thing you do is you put a lock and a tag on that power source to prevent somebody from coming and turning it on. So that's what lockout, tagout is. Now, where do most companies fail? Well, ironically enough, most companies have a program. They have a safety program for lockout, tagout. So that's usually not the problem. The problem usually comes from employee training, specifically training the wrong employees. And the other problem comes from not having accurate procedures for how to do it. So when we talk about training employees, there's affected level employees. That means basically everybody that needs to know about lockout, tagout, but isn't actually doing lockout, tagout. And then there's authorized employees, and these are the people that are actually doing lockout, tagout. So authorized employees are typically maintenance or manager level employees, and they need to have access to locks. They need to know the procedures for how to do lockout, tagout, and they need to have an in-depth training on those procedures, which leads me to the second big thing. If you get the training right, the other thing that you have to have is machine-specific procedures. So a machine-specific procedure means every single piece of equipment in your facility needs to have a step-by-step procedure for how to lock out that piece of equipment. And they don't have to be super complex. In fact, like I said earlier, simple is better, but they need to be clear and they need to be organized. And so having written procedures is one of the most common OSHA violations there is when it comes to lockout, tagout. All right, let's move on. Number 7 on the list is powered industrial trucks. Now, you might be wondering, what's a powered industrial truck? It's a forklift. Forklifts are classified as powered industrial trucks. If you go to 1910-178, you will learn all you want to know about powered industrial trucks. But essentially, employees need to know how to drive them. The two problems that OSHA typically finds is that trucks are not inspected and that operators are not certified to operate them or certified to drive them. So if you're going to improve this so that you don't have a problem with OSHA, the two things that I would focus on, number 1, make sure every single operator has been through a certification class. Now, they need to be certified on the exact equipment they're going to be driving. So this could be a sit-down forklift. It could be a stand-up forklift. It could be an order picker. It might even be something like a pallet jack, an electric pallet jack. But all of these fall under the OSHA standard as a powered industrial truck. The other thing that they need is a pre-operational inspection. Basically, they need a checklist to make sure that they're being inspected on a daily basis so you don't have damaged or dangerous equipment that's out in the shop, on the shop floor. All right, number 8, eye and face protection. Eye and face protection. Now, you might be wondering, well, David, I understand forklifts, but why is eye and face protection on the list of the top 10 OSHA violations? Because people get stuff splashed in their eyes. And they get wood chips and metal chips hit in their eyes, and it's a very painful injury. And if you have an eye injury, it actually has to be reported to OSHA. So there's layers to that, but that's one of the reasons it's on the list, because we all know how valuable our sight is. So employers have to take care of their employees' vision and their sight. Now, some of the top problems when it comes to this, simple. Employees aren't wearing eye protection. So there's a couple different types of eye protection, and we got to make sure employees have access to it and that they're wearing it. The number one most common type of eye protection is just safety glasses. Safety glasses. So you need safety glasses if there's a chance of something flying and hitting you in the eye, like a hard piece of wood, a piece of metal, something that's like grinding, something that's going to hit you in the eye. That's what safety glasses. They protect you from particles or hard solids flying at you. Goggles go around your face and they actually protect you from splashes. So if you're using chemicals, oftentimes the safety data sheet will tell you need to be wearing goggles to protect you from the splashes. Now, there's a big old face shield. If you're wearing a face shield, you actually have to have goggles or glasses on under the face shield to provide that next level of protection. And then probably the most, well, I wouldn't say the most common, but one of the special type of eye protection is welding and light protection from different types of grinding and welding. So, number 1, make sure your employees know to wear it. And number 2, enforcement. Make sure they're actually doing it. So that's a big thing. You don't want to have eye and face hazards and then employees aren't wearing the right protection. Also, make sure they're wearing goggles when they need goggles, glasses when they need glasses, face shield. They better have both a shield and another type of eye protection under there. So that's number 8. Number 9, machine guarding, machine guards. So machine guards, really simple. They cover, oftentimes a fixed guard is what we think of with machine guarding, and a fixed guard is going to cover up something that's rotating or cutting or grinding. It's a machine that's moving where you could get hurt if you put your hand in it or reach into it. So guards are required to be on things that are moving and rotating, and guarding cannot be removed. That's one of the most common problems, is that the guarding has been removed. Now, you might wonder, well, why would people take the guards off? Because they need to clean it, because they need to inspect it, because the belt came off and they need to put the belt back on. So what happens is you have a problem with a piece of machinery and somebody takes the guard off to fix it, and then they put the guard back on, and then the same problem happens again. They take the guard off and then they fix it again, and they go, you know what? I'm not putting that guard back on. It might break again. I need to leave the guard off. And then the guard never goes back on. So that's the problem. You got to make sure that people are putting guards on and that guards are staying on. And honestly, the only way to do that is by having an audit where you're going out and you're looking at the equipment and making sure the guarding is in place. Also helps to have employee training so employees know, hey, this is the machine I'm going to be using. Here's how to operate it. Here's the safety features. Here's the guards. Train employees on the guarding. All right, number 10, the very last one on the top 10 list of OSHA violations is electrical violations. So electricity, I don't care if it's an OSHA inspector's first day on the job, he is going to know that you cannot have exposed wires. So you need to know that. One of the best things you can do is make sure that you don't have any exposed wires on the ends of your extension cords, on the head of the plug. Make sure that that insulation goes all the way to the plug head. Outlet covers and circuit breaker boxes need to have everything covered. So there shouldn't be any openings. There shouldn't be anything that's been removed. It should all be covered. Covered electrical cords with insulation is put up. And then one of the other problems that comes up is improper use of extension cords. So flexible cords get used all the time. All the time. I'm using them here in my office right now. I got flexible cords. These might be extension cords. They might just be regular power cords. But these cords are not allowed to run through a door, through a window, through a hole in the wall, through some kind of sharp, grommet area that doesn't have protection on it. These cords are durable, but they're not as durable as hard conduit. So flexible cords have to be stored in a proper way, and extension cords can't be used in permanent fashion, which means essentially you can't take a zip tie or a wall fastener and attach extension cords and just keep it up all the time. They need to be rolled up and put out at the end of the day. So common problems, like I said, exposed wires, and any kind of breaker box that has openings in it. That's a big, big no-no. So with that in mind, we covered the top 10 OSHA violations. And as a quick recap, number 1, fall protection. Number 2, hazard communication, otherwise known as chemical safety. Number 3, ladder safety. Number 4, scaffolding safety. Number 5, respiratory protection. Number 6, lockout, tagout. Number 7, forklift or powered industrial truck. Number 8 is going to be eye and face protection. Number 9 is machine guarding. And number 10 is electrical safety. Now, there is one major safety program that is not on this list, and it's a huge hazard. I just want to throw it in there as a bonus, and that is confined space entry. Confined spaces, unfortunately, every year, a lot of people are killed because they enter confined spaces. So as a company, as an organization, make sure your company has confined space safety at the top of the list. It's not on the top 10 OSHA violations, but it needs to be up there high on your list. People need to be trained. You need to have clear communication, and they need to know never go into a confined space training, into a confined space without proper training and authorization. So that is my top 10 list from OSHA, the top 10 OSHA violations. Until we talk again, do yourself a favor, go to my website, helpwithosha.com, and download a free OSHA audit checklist. It will save you a lot of stress And until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.